Booking a doctor's appointment is assumed to be as easy as making a phone call. But if you're new to the border city or maybe looking to see a different physician, it's not that simple. Our Tate Laycraft reports.
A shortage of doctors is no new reality for the border city. For years, Lloydminster and other rural communities across Canada have struggled to recruit new doctors. But an alarming development in our city comes as only one family physician's office is accepting new patients, and they're only open Thursdays from 4 to 8 p.m.
If you ask me, is it acute? It is acute. Is it serious? I think it's serious.
The situation follows the departure of two doctors from the Lloydminster Clinic. In response, locals without a designated physician are being directed to the Lloyd Hospital. Dr. Raf Saeed says that the solution simply isn't optimal.
Receiving healthcare in emergency is not just inefficient, it's the most expensive form of getting healthcare, because if you capitalize the cost of service in the hospital with the hospital itself and its facility costs and the payment reimbursement to the physicians who are looking after, is much more expensive.
A simultaneous impact is a significant gap in healthcare for children. After the recent departures, Lloydminster is down to only one pediatrician. Paul Richet says it's not enough.
For the last 25 years, the birth rate in Lloydminster has been 500 kids or babies a year. One pediatrician doesn't cut it. We should have 4 minimum, and plenty of work for 4.
Richet suggests that a partial relief to the problem lies behind a border blur. In order for an international doctor to obtain an Alberta medical license, it's required that they practice with an AHS physician. Because the Lloydminster Hospital operates under the SHA, foreign doctors looking for Alberta certification don't have the option.
This all demonstrates the inability for Saskatchewan Health and Alberta Health to really come together to really truly discuss Lloydminster.
In the meantime, the SHA says that they're continuing efforts to try and recruit more doctors. Tate Laycraft, Primetime Local News.
Today's cold weather reminds us of what those less fortunate have to deal with when they don't have anywhere to go. The Lloydminster Men's Shelter shines a light on that with their Coldest Night of the Year fundraiser that was a success again this year. On February 26th, community members walked around Bud Miller Park for 2022's Coldest Night of the Year. The event was virtual last year, so walkers were excited to get outside, and that contributed to this year's success.
Tons of people came out, lots of families, which is always good to see. And yeah, it went really well. So far, we've raised just over $20,600. But it's open until the end of March, so anyone that wants to support us, they can still donate online, and the portal doesn't close until the end of March.
The money raised from the fundraiser will go towards operations at the men's shelter and be used to help residents on a daily basis.
It helps us to keep the shelter open, to welcome people in out of the cold. It helps us to put nutritious food in their bellies and warm clothes on their backs, just all of those things, yeah.
With the success of the 2022 event and of years past, Lazicki is thankful that residents are always supportive of the men's shelter, since that's what allows them to continue to serve community members.
We had, all the teams that support us every year, and then new ones that came on board this year. It's nice, it's growing here in Lloyd, and I'm really excited to see that. I can't wait to see how many more people will join us next year.
If you missed the event and would still like to donate, you can visit cnoy.org and search Lloydminster. A new provincial campaign began earlier this week on International Women's Day that spreads awareness on domestic violence. The Alberta Council of Women's Shelters launched this campaign, and our Shelby Clark spoke with them for more.
I'm speaking to Jan Reimer with the Alberta Council of Women's Shelters on a new provincial awareness campaign that they started on International Women's Day. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course, we're happy to have you on here. Now, this is called the More Than campaign. What is this campaign trying to highlight awareness of?
Well, that shelters are more than what people think they are, really. They're more than a bed. They provide more services than residential services. They're providing support for women, they're providing support for children. And domestic violence itself is more than violence as we understand it. It could be financial abuse, it can be bullying and put downs. We're seeing lots more happening in younger women with dating violence. So the campaign will span a number of months, but it'll really be looking at, really understanding domestic violence and shelters, and that how it is more than what people might think.
And why exactly was this campaign created and began for this new year, and what will all be involved in this?
Well, I think it began because I think people really think of shelters as perhaps just a place to sleep. And women's shelters, violence against women's shelters all across Canada do so much more work than that. And trying to get people to understand that, and also that they don't have to come to a shelter to get help from one. Often people think they have to go there, but certainly during COVID, we've really altered some of the services that have been provided, but always shelters provided outreach services, public education services, and so on. And so it's important, I think, for people to understand that they need help. They don't necessarily have to show up at a shelter door. They can call, and there'll be help there for them as well.
And how does this campaign benefit women that may be experiencing these situations or know someone who is?
Well, I think it gives them, first of all, a number to reach out to. Sometimes people just don't know where to go, and they may not think to go to a women's shelter or to call one. And also even how to reach out to help a friend or family member. And then even what is it? Often domestic violence is minimized. Oh, he's just being that way, he'll get over it. It's, but it could be very serious. It could be life damaging and indeed life threatening.
And for people that may not be aware, where can they find more information on this campaign and just see more on the resources that you have available?
Well, certainly invite them to come to our website at the Alberta Council of Women's Shelters, acws.ca. Women's Shelters Canada also has the resources posted. And watch your bus and watch your radio as the campaign unrolls over the next couple of months.
And for people that want to help support with this campaign, and for the Alberta Council of Women's Shelters, what all can they do to help with this?
Oh, there's so much they can do, from, writing a check to your local women's shelter to support them. We're coming out of, 2 years of COVID, and we're expecting a tsunami of domestic violence. And indeed, some shelters already are reporting about just how busy and full they are. So they need your financial support now. They also need you to understand what the signs of domestic violence is. How, what does it look like? What are the signs? And for people to know that, they can reach out and support a woman they may know and believe her. So I think those are the things people really need to understand. In the workplace, understanding that, we think domestic violence is something that happens at home, but it shows its ugly head in the workplace too. Perpetrators show up to work, they phone, they harass, and women may not be as attentive because they're worried about their own safety. So it's important to understand that domestic violence shows itself up in many places, maybe where you hadn't expected it to be. And people need to think, know those signs and what to look out to, and then how they might be able to provide the support that's needed.
Well, I think it's really great to hear that the Alberta Council of Women's Shelter is starting up this campaign to highlight the awareness on this that people may not be aware about when it comes to women dealing with these situations. So I'm really glad to know that this is a new provincial campaign that is going around here right now. So thank you so much again for joining us today, Jan.
Yeah, thank you for helping us get the word out. We really, really appreciate it.
Now for a look at our current cold temperatures, we go to Shelby Clark. Thanks so much, Jasmine. Now taking a first look at your weather forecast here in the border city. If you looked outside, it does look a bit deceiving with that
sun outside. It looks a little bit warmer, but it is quite chillier. We are sitting at -17, and with that wind chill, we are seeing some strong winds, making it feel like -30 outside. So make sure you are bundling up and trying to stay warm if you're going to be outside whatsoever. Switching over to temperatures across the region for Alberta and Saskatchewan. On the Alberta side, we definitely have cooled down quite a bit today. Most spots sitting around -16, -17 degrees. Up in Cold Lake, they're sitting at -14, while Lac La Biche and Edmonton are slightly cooler, just hitting that -13 mark. Now switching over to our Saskatchewan side here, they're seeing some slightly cooler temperatures as well, a couple degrees cooler compared to the Alberta side. -19 up in Isle Cross, while as -17 in most spots on the map, -16 in Pearson, Meadow Lake, and down in Macklin, while St. Walburg is just hitting -18. And now going over to North Battleford, overnight they will be going down to a low of -33, so we definitely are dropping for our evening low tonight compared to earlier on in the week. So if you got a vehicle, maybe time to bust out the cords once again. I know it feels weird having to switch back and forth throughout this winter, but we definitely have seen a fluctuate of the temperatures up and down. Tomorrow, North Battleford will be seeing -16 throughout the day, but they will be seeing a lot more of a cloudier day as well. Switching over to Cold Lake, they'll be going down to a low of -33. They will be cooling down quite a bit from that -14 mark. Tomorrow they will be seeing -12, so they will see a couple degrees warmer throughout the day, but they will be seeing around a 60% chance of some flurries starting off in the morning. For us in the border city, we'll be going down to a low of -30, but that wind chill will feel closer to -33, 35, so we will be cooling down quite a bit. Try to stay inside if at all possible. Try not to be outside too much tonight. And tomorrow we will be seeing -13 for our Friday, but a lot more cloudier skies to start off the weekend, unfortunately. Now looking at our 3-day forecast for here in the border city, we will be seeing a cooler day tomorrow. Saturday will save that weekend though. We will be seeing that 2-degree point throughout the day on Saturday with a lot more sun peeking behind those clouds. Then Sunday we will cool down once again to -9 throughout the day. That's the first look at your weather forecast. Our Jasmine King will have more news coming up after the break.
The ACAC athletic season is coming to a close, with sports continuing playoffs this weekend. For the first time in program history, the Lakeland College Rustlers have had 5 out of the 6 major teams nationally ranked and will see 4 teams compete for league championships. Evan Kenny has more.
Well, an incredibly successful 2021-2022 Lakeland College athletics season is beginning to come to a close as a number of different teams are looking to win some ACAC championships starting up this weekend. Joining me now is Lakeland College Athletic Director Al Rogan. Al, thank you very much for taking this time and joining me. Now, let's just start off, going through some of these teams that will be competing or hoping to compete for some gold medals. Starting things off with a Rustlers team that will be staying here in Lloydminster. The women's basketball team will be playing at the college. They will take on SAIT this Friday. Just talk about, their playoff run here to start things off.
Oh, it's crazy exciting for our teams. We haven't been able to host anything for a couple of years, and we like to host and we like to show our community all the our solid program. So yeah, being able to host women's basketball, especially this year, in a Final Four format is going to be super exciting. Gals, they win the first game on Friday night. They get a berth to nationals, right? And then they win, and if they win that one, they play Saturday. They hopefully are going to bring home the gold or keep the gold in our facility in Lloyd. So that'd be great.
And Al, the newest Rustlers team, the women's hockey team, will also be staying put here in Lloyd as they start off their final series for the Alberta Junior Female Hockey League Championship.
Oh yeah, that program has just basically exceeded every expectation it could this year. First year program, everything that core group of coaches and support crew have done to get that women's program up and running this year. Just to get up and running is a win. And then to have them go through the schedule, finish first in the North, go through the North playoffs, win that, and now competing for the AJFHL title is just, almost like the pinnacle of a Cinderella season kind of thing. And the gals and the coaching staff have just been absolutely fantastic. It's been a great season for that program. Phenomenal for sure.
And obviously, with them playing for the championship, it's been an incredibly successful season. Al, just when this process of getting a new team started and at the beginning of the season, did you expect them to be, quite this good?
You know, I really honestly didn't know what to expect. I didn't know much about the AJ league on the gal side, and we were late getting out of the gate recruiting and talking to sponsors in the community. But man alive, it all seemed to come together with just the supports and everybody who supported the program. As the season went on, we saw the caliber of our women's team and how good they could be. And like all sports, you got to play well at the right times of the year. And our gals have really come to play here going into the playoffs and have done absolutely a phenomenal job of just basically representing along with our coaching staffs. It's been great.
Well, Al, speaking of getting hot at the right time of the season, the men's basketball team will be playing in the Final Four in Calgary this weekend after knocking out the King's University as well, the University of Alberta, Augustana.
Oh, our men's basketball team, if you would have asked me if they were going to make the playoffs before Christmas, I would have said, well, they might make the playoffs, but they wouldn't go too far. They have really turned their season around since they got back from Christmas, and they're playing really well right now. If you're playing well going into the playoffs, that's the best time to bring out your best, and they've definitely done that. These last two competitions they've had in the playoffs have been fantastic. They're playing really well as a team. They're doing all the little things right, and they have a chance this weekend if they continue to play at that level. It's going to be tough. The teams in the Final Four are solid and strong, but like I said, it's the playoffs. If you play well on the right day, you could end up coming home with a medal or end up going off to nationals. So.
And finally, Al, the women's volleyball team being led by Women's Volleyball Player of the Year, Janae Varga, as well, Rookie of the Year in Avery Bates, will be playing this weekend in Red Deer.
Oh, absolutely. Women's volleyball, they've over the years, they've definitely proven that they're one of the top teams in our conference, and the ACAC is one of the top conferences in the country. So to get out of the conference is probably a huge battle, and then getting to nationals is still going to be a battle, obviously, to win that. But our gals finished first in the North again. Janae and Avery, two solid players on a very strong team. They have a great chance of moving on as well. Only one team out of the women's volleyball in the province this year will make it off to nationals, so they definitely have the work cut out for them. And they are a younger team, but man, Coach Dyer's done a great job of getting those gals ready to play. And, he's been around long enough where I know that if they don't go to nationals, it wasn't lack of preparation, because I know that that team will be well prepared to go into this weekend of competition. So, hopefully we'll be sending at least 2, maybe 3 teams off to nationals. But, it's who plays best this weekend is what's going to determine that.
Well, Al, thank you very much for taking this time and joining me. All of the Lakeland College teams will be in action Friday night, with the exception of the women's hockey team. Al Rogan, Athletic Director for Lakeland College.
Same, Evan. Thanks a lot, man.
Now our Shelby Clark will give us another look at this evening's forecast.
Thanks so much, Jasmine. Now taking another look at your weather forecast, we'll be starting off with the central zone of our provinces to kind of check and see where we are sitting at. On the Alberta side, we've cooled down just a bit in most spots on the map, with -12 in Edmonton and Athabasca. Red Deer sitting at -11, and the rest are seeing some slightly warmer temperatures at those single-digit points. -4 in Rocky Mountain House and Edson. Whitecourt is at -7, and Jasper is once again being not all of us seeing that 1 degree mark. Switching over now to our Saskatchewan side, they are definitely seeing some cooler temperatures compared to the Alberta side. -15 in Meadow Lake, while Cold Lake is sitting at -13, -17 in North Battleford and Prince Albert, while it is -18 in Saskatoon and Melfort. And now switching over to our northern region now to see what they are sitting at. They have reached past that -20 point, so they definitely have cooled down quite a bit today compared to what we have been seeing earlier on through the week. Most spots are seeing around -20 degrees. -21 in Stony Rapids, while it's -22 in Uranium City and Wollaston Lake, and down in La Ronge and Flin Flon, they're sitting at -18, -19. Switching over now to the Alberta side, they have cooled down quite a bit as well, especially down in this area. They sometimes do see some warmer temperatures, but they have cooled down with -10 in Grand Prairie. Slave Lake, Peace River both sitting at -12, -13 degrees, -14 in high level. Fort McMurray is sitting at -16, and Fort Chipon has almost reached that -20 point. Now going over to our southern region now, they have cooled down a bit, but they aren't seeing too bad of temperatures, kind of around the same as what we are seeing on the Alberta side in the central region. -6 in Lethbridge, while Banff is at -2, -8 in Calgary, and Medicine Hat and Coronation are at that double-digit point. Switching now over to this end here, they definitely have cooled down quite a bit. Most spots almost even reaching the -20 degree area, with -19 in both Moose Jaw and Regina, and the rest are seeing -17. Now looking back at temperatures across the region overnight for what we will expect, we definitely will be cooling down quite a bit for our evening lows and throughout the night. Definitely compared to yesterday, where we haven't even been reaching that -20 point. Now for today, we are even reaching past the -30 point for our lows. Provost will be seeing a low of -26, while Isle of Cross will be seeing a low of -27. Meadow Lake and Myrna will almost be reaching that low of -30 point for their evening low. Paradise Hill, Wainwright will be seeing a low of -31, and Unity, Pierceland, and Bonnyville will be seeing the coolest with a low of -32 and -33. And this is without those wind chills in most spots across the region as well. So we definitely will be feeling cooler than what we are seeing on the map here. So as I was saying before, if you got those cords for your vehicles, gonna have to bust them out most likely again to plug in your vehicles. Now ending off with our 7-day forecast for here in the border city, we will be seeing that -13 and a low of -30 tomorrow, so we will be seeing a much cooler day to start off our weekend. But Saturday will save it with a lot more sun on Saturday with that 2-degree mark throughout the day. Then we will cool down on Sunday and Monday and seeing a high chance of some flurries starting off the week next week. But we will be seeing those warmer temperatures for throughout the days next week at that 0 mark on next Tuesday, 1 degrees on next Wednesday, and we will be seeing that 0 mark again next Thursday with a mix of some sun and cloud. That is another look at your weather forecast. Our Jasmine King will have more news coming up after the break.
So you're an artist? Yeah. Are you good at it?
Duh. I'm happy to be joined today on Primetime Local News by Sarah Andres. Sarah is in Edmonton today, and Sarah is a makeup artist. We're going to get to that right away because the makeup skills that you have, Sarah, are amazing. But thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And now, Sarah, you are in Edmonton, but I wanted to talk a little bit about your connection to this area. You actually have family in the Cold Lake area. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's not many left living, but I'm from the Cold Lake First Nations band. So that's my Indigenous heritage. And we kind of have family all over Alberta now, but I grew up in Camrose and now I'm here in Edmonton. And yeah, it's been great.
Well, Sarah, the makeup transformations you do are quite amazing. We're going to show some here as we get into this interview as well. But how did you get into doing makeup? Is it something that you've loved for your entire life, or how did you get into making this your career?
Right. I've always been into anything beauty. I'm actually a hairstylist as well. I went to hair school in 2010, and then I kind of started playing with makeup and I really got into YouTube. So I was watching tutorials hours and hours, and then I started practicing, and it just kind of turned into a passion for me. And I started TikTok last year and it's just been insane. And I feel like I'm always learning with makeup and it's so much fun.
Well, speaking of TikTok, Sarah, you have almost 400,000 followers on TikTok, and your videos are really dramatic. Like the before and after pictures, I see comments, people saying that there's no way that that's the same person. So, and you're really putting yourself out there, Sarah. So why did you choose to do that?
You know, it's funny. I was doing transformations before, but not showing the fact that I had no teeth, and they weren't really doing well. And I was like, my family was like, why don't you show what you really look like, what you really, really look like at home? So I thought, you know what? I don't care what people think. And maybe it'll make some women feel better about themselves to see that, you know, it's not always what it seems, right? So it's been, people in my real life have been shocked at how I look so different. So it was cool to show everybody online.
Have you been surprised at the reaction? Unfortunately, on social media, not everybody is polite, as we know.
Correct.
Have you been surprised at some of the reactions, and how do you deal with some of the negativity that comes your way too, Sarah?
In the beginning, I was really shocked at how cruel some people can be, but I kind of expected it because, I try to make myself as unappealing as possible in the beginning. But it's mostly men. Most women are supportive. I think that, everything is based on how you look in the society we live in. And I just want to just show like that doesn't matter. I don't care what people think of me anymore. It's just it rolls off my back, and all that matters is like the people in my life and my awesome followers that seriously support me and have gotten me through the toughest times. Like the positivity outweighs the negative way more. So
And now, Sarah, you are hoping eventually to make this a full-time gig, but in the meantime, you do offer an online makeup course. And I know that it's like seeing what you can do with makeup. It just amazes me. And I'm always thinking, well, there's no way I could get to that level. But if somebody like myself is a real beginner and wants to start, how do they
Mhm.
take your course that's online?
So they can just go to my Instagram or my TikTok, which are both at Lashes and Losing. And it's just in the link in the bio. And it's just a little hour-long, very basic beginner course. It's just a series of videos. And I hope it helps some people if they are just starting out and want to learn, the real skincare, things like that, that all goes into before applying the makeup as well.
Well, now I see that some brands are reaching out to you and getting you to test their product, which is awesome.
Yeah.
What's it going to take, Sarah, for you to get, realize this dream full time and make this something that you can do as a full time career?
Well, it's been a really tough few years for my family, but now it's just like it's starting to seem like maybe this could be something that I could actually make a full-time career. I just worked with Cheekbone Beauty, which is an Indigenous owned brand, and they're Canadian owned as well, and was such a dream come true. Like I'm so honored. Um, I think it would just take, I'm having a bit of a hard time because I don't necessarily fit the beauty standard. A lot of these brands want to work with young women or, thin women, anything like that. I find that I've reached out to hundreds of brands and I really haven't got a response. So the fact that the few that have noticed me and want to work with me is amazing. So I'm hoping that in the future, they'll take a chance because women our age, we love makeup. It's a big market.
Well, Sarah, if anybody wants to reach out to you and find out more, either about your course or how they can help you out, or just even to say, hey, what's the best way to find you, Sarah?
Directly to me would be my email, lashesandlosing@gmail.com. That would be the easiest way to get in touch.
All right. And to find you on TikTok and Instagram under the same handle?
You bet, at Lashes and Losing.
Well, Sarah, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. I wish you the best of luck with everything. Again, people have to check out your transformations, like just amazing. And a lot of them are dramatic, but you also have videos on there that will show some easier ways to do makeup and not
Absolutely.
tone down a little bit too. So we wish you the best
Exactly.
of luck, Sarah, and thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Today for Primetime Local News, I'm joined with Robert Hackinson, one of the members of the Bromantics, a Saskatchewan band that will be performing in Lloydminster at the Vic Juba Community Theatre on March 19th. And we're going to talk a little bit about their show coming up. So thank you so much, Robert, for joining me here today.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
So firstly, I'd like to start off with what can people expect to see at this performance?
What can you expect to see at a romantic show? That's a great question, actually. The 1950s. Like we're a complete authentic tribute with contemporary kind of energy though. So it's not like we're not from the 50s playing that same stuff. We're revitalizing it. It's a lot of fun and it's certainly engaging. It's hard to sit down.
And your group does a lot of cover work, but you also do have a few original songs. So will there be any original songs in this particular set?
They're actually being showcased for the first time on this tour. So there were one or two that were kind of in their beginning phases prior to the SOSAC tour, but now they're polished and actually some of them are recorded. And there's an album's worth of them being performed this tour.
So these new original songs that you guys are performing for the first time, they're a part of your new album that you guys are releasing this year. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we're firing off an LP on vinyl. So we'll still have some streaming options. You don't have to go back to the 1950s to listen to it, but it felt pretty appropriate to actually cut a record. So we're going to do that.
What was your guys' inspiration to choose 50s music as your genre?
It's a great question, Nicole, actually. What inspired us? That's probably a little different for each member, I imagine. So, for example, Greg Gower is our keys player. He's the oldest member in the group. There's definitely a gap between, for example, Greg and Justin, the youngest member, like probably 4 decades. So Greg probably loves doing this stuff because it's actually nostalgic. Like he probably grew up around this stuff, not quite, but like close enough. And for him, he kind of lived the music. Whereas for people like me, some of the other members, I guess, it'd be a little different. So I didn't live through the 50s, but it's absolutely high energy, contagious music. So as a performer, for example, and most of us have played in quite a few groups, this is the most we've ever interacted with an audience. So for example, if we play The Twist by Chubby Checker, I don't care how old you are, you're not sitting down. Like it's everybody stands up and starts twisting, and that becomes like a cyclical energy. So we certainly enjoy the performance aspect of it. On a more personal note, when I was a kid, I had a cassette tape given to me from my grandfather, actually, and it was called Robert's Rock and Roll. There was a side A, side B, and I fell in love with this stuff. So there's a sentimentality to it as well. I'd put side A on, for example, and it'd be full of like Buddy Holly and the Coasters and the Drifters, and I'd fall asleep to this stuff every night. And then the next night I'd flip over to side B and play it through and fall asleep to that.
As we know, the pandemic has affected the arts in such a big way. So what's it like to be able to tour again and perform live after such a long time not being able to?
Oh, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. When we had booked this OSAC tour, it was leading right into the pandemic. Like we showcased in 2019. And so the dates were all scheduled for 2020. So we were on kind of a climactic bit of a momentum where things were about to kick off. And then right as they were, everything shut down. So feeling very deflated. So for this to finally be coming to fruition, it's kind of a great way to kickstart us back in. So a bit of a window opened, I guess, when a door was closed. It seemed as though it was deflating then, but it's been a great opportunity that many other bands don't have to get back into the swing of things. We're kicking it off pretty hard, right? So.
And is there anything else that you would like to add about the performance coming up?
Anything in particular for Vic Juba? You know what? We haven't been there yet. So hopefully we're looking forward to seeing a whole new group of bro fanatics. We'd love to create a new fan base out that way. So we hope you come out and support the arts, and we'd love to dance with you guys, twist the night away. And yeah, I think that's about it.
So this performance will be happening on March 19th at the Vic Juba Community Theatre. And if you are interested, their tickets can be found at thevicjubatheatre.ca. And thank you again, Robert, for coming on and sharing a little bit more about your band and what will be going on at this performance.
No worries, Nicole. Thanks for having me.
Ending off with taking another quick look at your 7-day forecast here. We will be starting off a bit cooler tomorrow at -13 for the weekend. Saturday we'll save it with 2 degrees throughout the day with a lot more sun. Then we will cool down Sunday and Monday, seeing a high chance of some flurries starting off next week. But we will be seeing those single-digit temps with 0 next Tuesday, 1 degree on next Wednesday, and seeing a mix of some sun and cloud next Thursday.
Thank you for joining us this evening on Primetime Local News, and have a good night.